Hello everyone, this is Dr. Ray Strand and glad to be with you this evening. Tonight's topic is going to be how we can detox using Restoriix. And basically what this is going to be my approach and how I am going to use Restoriix to help detox my patients. And so what I'm going to lay out for you tonight is a strategy, an understanding of how you can best detox, and I hope this will help you. And so this is more of a practical how to use Restoriix and the RX products to have the best detox and actually accomplish a lot of different goals. And so this is our goal tonight. And for those who are not familiar with me, I'm a family physician. I have now been in medical practice for 40 years. And the last 17 years of my practice, I have specialized in preventive and nutritional medicine. My research has led to writing and publishing 5 books, many of which have been translated into different languages. I've spoken internationally on these topics, and presently I am the Chief Medical Officer for RX. So I hope we can understand how we can detox our body and use these wonderful products that RX is providing for us, and at the same time, gain a little bit of understanding what we are really trying to accomplish. So what I'd like is just to do some reviewing, and first of all, it's something that we need to understand that oxygen, even though it's necessary for life itself, it also is inherently dangerous for our existence. And so what I mean by that, as you utilize oxygen within the battery or furnace of the cell, which is called the mitochondria, to create energy in life itself, occasionally you actually create what we call a cellular exhaust or free radicals. Now, all a free radical is a charged oxygen molecule. It actually has an electrical charge because in its outer orbit it has at least one unpaired electron, which gives it very rapid movement. And if it's not readily neutralized by an antioxidant, it can go on to damage the cell wall, vessel wall, fats, proteins, and even the DNA nucleus of the cell. So what is happening is we're actually rusting inside. So the same process that causes a cut apple to turn brown or rust metal is literally rusting you and I inside. There's a war going on that's being waged within every cell of our body. And we basically realize this process is called oxidative stress. And the medical literature shows beyond any shadow of doubt that it's the root cause of more than 100 chronic degenerative diseases. Now, these are diseases you and I would love to avoid, my patients want to avoid. They're diseases like heart disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's dementia, Parkinson's disease, arthritis, macular degeneration, lupus, multiple sclerosis, and the list goes on and on. So this is key, and what I have learned over the years is the fact that your body is the best defense to fight off oxidative stress, the body's natural defense systems. And so I just wanted to review that to let you know. But you have to understand, when you practice nutritional medicine, you have to understand that the problem is oxidative stress. It is not a nutritional deficiency. The way nutritional medicine has been practiced the last half century around the world is trying to figure out what you need a little more of or a little less of. We'll do hair samples, blood samples, urine, muscle testing, iridology, the list goes on and on, trying to figure out what you need a little more of or a little less of. But you see, the problem is not a nutritional deficiency. It is oxidative stress. And so what you need to learn is balance is the key. In other words, you want to have enough antioxidants on board to handle the number of free radicals you're producing. Then you can actually prevent this oxidative stress. And what is really key with all this is the fact that the amount of free radicals you and I produce is not steady. Because of our stressful lifestyles, our polluted environment, and our over-medicated society, we are producing more free radicals than any generation that's ever walked the face of the earth. And so what we need to know and talk about really tonight is really that the best way to build up the body's natural defense is providing all the nutrients to the cell at these optimal or advanced levels, not RDA levels or not daily value. You want the advanced levels that have actually been shown to provide a health benefit in our medical literature. This is what I've studied for the last 17 years. And when you do this, I call this cellular nutrition. Now, RX has made this very simple for you, myself, and my patients, because by taking their optimals, the vitamins and minerals at their recommended doses with food, you're actually provided all of these essential nutrients at these optimal or advanced levels. Not only are you getting a wide variety of antioxidants that work synergistically in various parts of the body against different free radicals, you're also giving the supporting antioxidant minerals and the B cofactors and vitamins that these antioxidants need to perform at their optimal levels. So over time of taking cellular nutrition or the optimals, you're literally building up the body's natural defense systems, the natural antioxidant defense system, the natural immune system, and the natural repair system. But what I want you to look at is that toxins from the environment actually build up in your bodies because of all the exhaust, the carbon monoxide, the dioxins from burning plastic, sulfur, nitric dioxide, heavy metals. They infiltrate our entire environment. They get into our plants. They're into the pesticides. And not only that, we've got the toxins and the herbicides and the pesticides that we use in our lawns, our gardens, on the golf course, all over. But it gets into our water. If anybody listened to the Purity bottle presentation last night, you start to understand the pollutants that get into our water system. But our fish, that is why, you know, mercury toxicity, especially in the larger fish like tuna, and all of our fish have heavy metals because they live in this toxic water, and that's why we recommend not eating tuna more than once a week and staying away from farm fish, and we want cold water fish that have been out in the wild. You want wild salmon. But what happens is that these heavy toxins were exposed through our water, our food, and our air. They come into the body, and what happens is, yes, the body's trying to get rid of these toxins, but our great detoxifier, the liver, is overwhelmed because of our great exposure to the toxins that we must face. And so even though we're trying to detox and get these out, we just are not able to detoxify them fast enough. And that's what we want to really talk about tonight, because all the heavy metals increase free radical production. Now, this is really key when it comes to places in the body like the brain, the liver, the kidneys, muscles, even the heart, the vessels. These heavy metals, mercury, cadmium, coppers, you know, the fluoride, all of these heavy metals increase free radical production. And in fact, there's some essential nutrients like iron that we have seen actually increases free radical production. And that's why you will not find iron in the optimals, because even though it's an essential nutrient, we get plenty from our diet. And if you get too much, it increases free radical production. But when it is deposited in your tissues, it can cause tremendous problems, and the body is just struggling to get rid of these toxins and heavy metals. So let's just take a look at the body, and I want to just share from a physician's standpoint, how do these heavy metals damage the body? Well, let's start with the brain. When you get mercury, aluminum, you get cadmium, you get lead, gets into the brain. The brain is a very sensitive area, and the nerves and nerve cells in the brain are very, very sensitive to this oxidative stress. It is very hard for the body to get it out of the brain, even though once it's deposited, we're breaking it down. It has a very long time to kind of decrease that amount of exposure. The medical literature is showing us, even though we don't quite know exactly the cause of Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's, and now autism, one of the leading theories is heavy metals can cause increased damage, set the brain up to where you end up having Parkinson's disease or Alzheimer's, dementia, or even autism. And that's why you'll read a lot of reports on the fact that we don't like a lot of the immunizations that used to have thimerosal, which is mercury. That's why we're worried about mercury amalgams, putting them in our mouth. And all of these heavy metals, are using deodorants that have aluminum. This is where we really have to be concerned. So I think one of the greatest areas of the body that's affected by heavy metals is our brain. Another area is our kidneys. You know, our kidneys is our great filter, and so heavy metals can collect and destroy kidney tissue. We see that heavy metals can affect the digestive system. We're seeing that toxins and heavy metals within the GI tract can break down and cause what we call a leaky gut syndrome and damage this, allowing larger proteins to be absorbed into the bloodstream. There's many who feel this can lead to autoimmune diseases, MS, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and those kind of diseases. We see diseases in muscle and bone, and obviously we worry about cancer and bloodborne diseases. So heavy metals deposited throughout the body increase oxidative free radical production, which increases oxidative stress that I've already shared with you, is the root cause of over 100 chronic degenerative diseases you and I would love to avoid. Now, Restoriix is really a detox center in a bottle. Now, I have had many patients come in who really are ill. They're suffering from one of these chronic degenerative diseases, or they're very concerned about developing and they want to prevent this. So what ends up is the fact that I really show that I would at least recommend to my patients maybe to go to a detox center that have to take off 10 days to 2 weeks from their job, go to a detox center that usually costs an average of $10,000 to $20,000 for 10 days to 2 weeks of detox, and then they go through the detox only to return home to be more and more exposed and it start building back up. So you have to understand, I was thrilled when I saw that RX was going to develop their own detox product, and then to see the quality of the product they have put together in the form of Restoriix. Now, I've talked about this a couple months ago in a previous webinar, but I just want to review it. That Restoriix is a combination of zeolite, and I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit, which is a great detox agent, and chlorella, which is also a natural detox agent, because both of these have been shown to remove heavy metals and toxins within the GI tract. These are, not absorbed. Zeolite is not absorbed into the body, so it's very, very safe. So what you have to learn is that Restoriix, is the other side of the coin. In other words, what I mean by that is that on one side, you are building up your body's natural antioxidant defense system. Remember, balance is the key. So you're building up your body's natural defense system to handle the increase in free radicals and to bring it back into balance. But Restoriix is removing those metals and toxins from the body, which increase your production of free radicals. And so when you start to remove them, you're producing fewer and fewer free radicals that really need to be neutralized. So it's all working together. And I might throw in here purity water. When you have your purity water bottle and you're not taking in those toxins, are going to decrease the number of free radicals you're going to have to produce or to neutralize. So everything is working together. Deanna Latson calls this panoptic health, but that's what I'm sharing with you from a physician's perspective, is the fact that this is what we're doing. Yes, we want to take nutritional supplements at their optimal advanced levels. We want to not be as exposed as much and drink pure water and have house cleaning products that are non-toxic and to protect our environment the best we can. But then we want to be able to detox the body so we can decrease this free radical load that we have to that is causing these disease processes. So let me just talk a little bit about zeolite that is in Restoriix. Zeolite is a patented formula. In other words, you're going to hear a lot of zeolite around the world, and different people have zeolite. But RX didn't just go out and just buy any zeolite. They went all the way to Austria and they purchased a patented form of zeolite. Now, zeolite has two patents. One, it's patented on its micronization process, which you got to remember, zeolite is really volcanic ash. That's one of the very, very few natural negatively charged products in the world. So what happens is that when they micronize this, they just increase the surface, and you'll see how this works in the end. But also, it has received a patent as a medical device in Europe, which means that it's medically effective. So it's not just any zeolite that RX went out and got, but this is what we're talking about. Now, this zeolite occurs in kind of a honeycombed surfaced area, and the micronization process actually spreads this out and opens up this surface, which allows zeolite to capture actually more heavy metals. So that's why this is such a unique zeolite, and it's going to be so effective in detoxing your body. Now, how does this zeolite attract heavy metals? Well, you have to understand that zeolite is negatively charged. These little honeycombed little areas are negatively charged, and all your heavy metals, your mercury, your lead, cadmium, all of these are negatively charged. So your zeolite works like a magnet. It attracts these heavy metals, and it works within the GI tract. It also, remember that the GI tract have little outpocketings called villi, in which we need for absorption of our food and all of the amino acids and protein and carbohydrates. And so what happens is the blood supply is very, very close. So zeolite can actually even attract heavy metals in the bloodstream, but it is not absorbed. That's what makes it so safe. And so once it attracts these heavy metals, it traps them in this honeycomb surface, holds on to them like a sponge holds on to water, and carries them out of the body when you excrete your stool. So it is a wonderful detox agent. Plus, you can do it at home for just even an insignificant amount of money compared to a detox center. So this excites me as a physician because now all my patients are going to have the opportunity to be able to detox their body effectively using this wonderful product. So I want to share just another thing because it leads into my approach to a detox program that I'm going to use in my practice. Now, we have heard about celiac disease, which is actually an autoimmune disease, to gluten, which is in our grains. Now, a lot of people have heard about celiac disease, but they don't realize that 1% of the population in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico actually have celiac disease. And another 4 to 5, maybe even 6 or 7% have what we call gluten intolerance. That's more of a gluten allergy. These are two different things. So the interesting thing that you have to understand is that less than 5% of these individuals even know they have celiac disease. So in other words, 95% of our patients with celiac disease remain undiagnosed. This is horrible because people who develop celiac disease think they have chronic fatigue, they have muscle aches, they're aching, they have GI upset, they may have burning in their arms or their legs. It's a great mimicker. So they go into the doctor and complain. And doctors just don't really look for this. And the main reason is there is no drug treatment for this. The treatment is to avoid gluten, which is avoiding all your grains, wheat, flour, cereals, all of that. So doctors really are not talked much by pharmaceutical companies. The pharmaceutical industry is not really talking much about celiac disease and getting doctors to really pay attention to this. Now, I just read a book. It's called The G-Free Diet by Elizabeth Hasselbeck. And many of you might know her as she's one of the ladies on The View. And she suffered with cramping, abdominal pain, aching, fatigue, and just was miserable. She went to 6 or 8 doctors early on with this. She started about age 16, 17, then went on the show Survivor. And she went to us, I don't know, Papua New Guinea or someplace, one of the islands, and she was on Survivor and found out that she was starting to feel better and better. In fact, by the time she got done with that show, she felt better than she had felt in years. Only returned back to the United States and start feeling bad again. And she just came to the conclusion, even though she had seen a half dozen doctors before who couldn't make a diagnosis, she started to search on the internet, and she found that she really had something in her diet. Well, on her own, she says, I have celiac disease. This is what's amazing to me, and this is her story. She then went to another 6 or 7 doctors, actually asked for the blood test, the test for celiac disease, and no one would do it. Doctors have egos, and I pray for humility all the time because I see it really rampant in my profession. But what happens is that when a patient comes in and asks for a specific test, the doctors want to say, well, what do you know about it? She could not get a doctor to run the test. Well, then she finally found a doctor in New York who specialized in celiac disease, and sure enough, he tested her and she really had celiac disease. Well, think about it. 95% of these patients are undiagnosed. So with RX, we now are going to be able to help find not only the people with celiac disease, but also through our detox program, we're going to find those who have gluten intolerance, which is another 5 or 6% of the population. And I'm going to share how you do that. But let me give you one precaution. If you think you have celiac disease, you got a family member or that, the best thing to do before you go through any detox is go in and have the blood test. Because once you start avoiding gluten, that test after a month or so is not really that accurate. So I just give you that as a precaution. So let me talk to you about the detox program that I'm going to be using with my patients in my practice and recommending with my online medical practice. First of all, I want all of my patients to at least take the RX Optimals. Remember, I'm trying to build up the body's natural defenses. But what a lot of people don't know, once you start taking even the optimals, one of the things we worry about is a detox reaction, because now you're nourishing the body like you've never done before, and your body can actually start to detox. Now, 80% of my patients take the RX Optimals with no problem. But those who start to detox may feel some muscle aching, some soreness. They might have a mild to moderate headache. This is usually transient. Usually within 5 to 10 days, this is gone. And in fact, those people usually have a better response to the optimals. But I also, my best recommendation is take the optimals plus 2 Vanali each and every day. Now, I'm also going to recommend that my patients have 2 Pure Nourish meal replacements daily. Now, if you're trying to lose weight, you'd only want to use 2 scoops for your meals. However, if weight loss is not a problem, you're just looking at protecting your health and you want to detox, I would use 3 scoops for your meals. Now, you mix your Pure Nourish with either water, almond, or coconut milk. Remember the purity bottle. Remember, we want pure water. You can mix in fresh fruits and frozen fruits and all of that. That's okay. But the key is that Pure Nourish, you've got to remember, not only is it low glycemic, and you're going to see insulin levels come back down after one meal and your glucagon, which is your fat-releasing hormone, coming up, but also it is GMO-free, it is dairy-free, it is soy-free, and it is gluten-free. Now that is key, because I want my detox program to last at least 4 weeks. That's the minimum I would detox. Now, you could detox longer if you want, but at least a 4-week detox. Now, if you're just doing this for your general health or you don't have any major health problems, 1 scoop of Restoriix daily is great. And I'm going to share with you in the next slide how to really take that. However, 2 scoops or 1 scoop twice a day is fine too, especially if you're really suffering from a chronic degenerative disease or you're having problems. Now, here is the key with this detox program. I also want my patients or you to avoid all grains, all breads, flour, cereal, pasta, and potatoes for the 4 weeks of this detox. Now, if you're trying to lose weight, you should also avoid rice. If you're not, then rice is fine, because rice does not contain any gluten. And you'll see in just a minute why I like this approach. Now, this is the detox program I'm going to be using on my website, on my online medical practice, and with my patients. Now, let me just kind of share with you how to use Restoriix. This is a little bit of review. What you want to find is you don't want to take the Restoriix within 1 or 2 hours. 2 hours is ideal, but at least 1 hour from taking any medication. So you don't want to take any medication 1 to 2 hours before you use Restoriix or 1 or 2 hours after. Restoriix not only contains other superfruits and chia seed and not only the chlorella and the spirulina, but it has activated charcoal, which can bind your medication. So it's critical not to take the Restoriix, preferably 2 hours, but if you're taking medicine every 3 or 4 hours, then at least 1 hour. You want to use 1 scoop daily, and you want to mix it either in water, in juice, or what I'm finding and my patients love are the green drinks. I use Dynamic Greens. It's a company. There's Triple Greens, but it, mint flavor. In fact, when I did my detox, and I'm doing another one right now, I'm using the green drink, and I'll tell you, it's really good. It's a little difficult getting the grindy taste down, but it's best to take this on an empty stomach and not with a meal. So people ask, well, can I take it with a Pure Nourish? I would prefer you didn't. You're going to have a better result if you don't. You take it on an empty stomach. Now, if you're dealing with a more serious illness, and I'm going to share some of those at the end, you have that option of using 1 scoop of a Restoriix twice daily. And this is just being more aggressive. Now, I always get asked, can children do a detox and use Restoriix? Absolutely. It is safe in children. And the main reason is it's not absorbed into the body. It just works in the GI tract, attracting these toxins and heavy metals and getting them out of the body. Now, in your younger children, I would say in the range of 3 years old to, let's say, 6 or 7, or probably 10, I would just use a half scoop daily. Unless you're dealing with a serious problem like autism, then I would use a full scoop. There's no harm with that, or a half scoop twice daily. We are seeing some reports of children with autism who are, we believe heavy metals play a very important role in this. So, we're seeing children who may have not ever spoke before, or they had problems with outbursts, or just really behavioral problems, see significant improvement using Restoriix within a month or so. So this is something that you really want to conserve. But I want to share another concept, avoidance therapy. Now, what happens is that food allergies are very, very difficult to test for, to check, to really know. In my earlier years in practice, I actually practiced. My partner was an allergist, and he did the skin testing. He would do blood tests, but he shared with me over and over again that they're very poor indicators for food allergies. Everybody reacts or they don't. But avoidance therapy is the best. In other words, so when I would get a child in that I was suspicious, for example, they were having recurrent ear infections and runny noses and all of that, I would tell my parents to get their child off milk and dairy products for a full month. And, they would do that, and sometimes they could notice some things, sometimes they couldn't. But after a month, then we would challenge them. We would challenge them and say, go out and have a milkshake or a lot of milk. And boom, just like that, the parents could recognize right away that, oh my goodness, they're really reacting. Well, that's what we're going to do in RX's detox program. So by doing the program the way I shared, after 4 weeks, then you add back soy because you've been off soy. If you're going to react to soy, or if you're a reactor to soy, you're going to tell it within a few days. So you go out, have some tofu, or have a drink that has soy, or a soy bar or something like that. Now, if after 3 or 4 days you haven't reacted, then I want you to add dairy. Go have a malt, eat a lot of cheese, or go ahead and drink a lot of milk. And if you react to dairy, you can get cramping, diarrhea. If you got lactose deficiency, it's going to be really obvious to you. If you start running from the nose and a lot of congestion, that is more of a true milk allergy. But then again, if you don't have any reaction, then 3 or 4 days after that, you add back gluten. Now, I have had patients who had no idea that they had a gluten allergy. I might have been treating them for fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, other things like that, and just boom, they started to avoid, they added gluten back, and wow, there is no doubt you're going to be able to tell if you have a gluten allergy. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you don't know if you have celiac disease or a gluten allergy. In the end, it really does not matter. You're just going to have to avoid gluten, and you're going to have to learn a gluten-free diet and what is very, very important to you, because your health will improve so much because you're constantly reacting. If you have celiac disease, it attacks the bowel and these small villi. in the bowel that absorb all of your nutrients from your food start to be destroyed. You get the leaky gut. In fact, there's a lot of people that feel this can actually be the early start of autoimmune disease because of leaky gut and all of that. So this is what we can do with the RX detox program. So that's why. So let's just look now, just review the health benefits from a detox using Restoriix. First of all, you're going to decrease the amount of heavy metals and toxins you have within the body because Restoriix, the chlorella, and the zeolite are going to grab on to those heavy metals and carry them out of the body. But what a lot of people don't realize, it also has an alkalinizing effect on the body. As the zeolite traps the heavy metals, it releases magnesium and calcium that can be absorbed. It actually is very, very effective, but it lowers the pH and causes alkalinization. Having an alkaline body is very, very key. Cancer cells have difficulty growing. Inflammation goes down. You start to see a lot of improvement just by lowering your pH and the acidity, especially if you follow the diet we recommend, which is more whole fruits and vegetables and grains, which are also alkalinizing. Now, this allows the GI tract to heal. Remember, Pure Nourish also has the probiotics and digestive enzymes. Now, you don't have to buy them separately. They're already in Pure Nourish. Well, probiotics are those good bacteria. It's like a garden within. You're giving the good bacteria back. The digestive enzymes allow you to absorb your food better because we're depleted in digestive enzymes. If there's been any damage to the lining of the GI tract called the leaky gut syndrome, this will actually heal. Well, because of all of this, the GI tract and the bacteria in the bowel, the good bacteria, is very, very important, not only for the absorption of nutrients like vitamin K and alpha lipoic acid and the B vitamins, but it improves our immune function. So your immune function is going to improve. But here's a key thing. You're going to decrease free radical production. Now, there are studies out there that show zeolite actually decreases free radical production. But actually, when you really look at the studies, and I spent about a month really researching zeolite and reading everything I could, really what's happening is most researchers believe it's because you're removing these heavy metals and toxins which increase free radical production. That's how you reduce free radical production. You're just getting them out. But like I said, we can determine who might be allergic to soy or dairy or gluten. Now, that's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for you. And everybody can go ahead and detox as long or as short, but I would say the minimum should be 4 weeks. If you want to detox 8 weeks, fine. Some people like to detox every 6 months. They like to detox once a year. There should be some pattern because let's face it, once you finish your detox, then you're going to be exposed to your environment. It's going to build back up. And there's one other health benefit I should have put on this slide. The health benefit is that your great detox center is your liver. And when you do this detox, you're actually taking pressure off the liver so it can focus on detoxing the body even more effectively because you're reducing the toxic load that the liver has to be concerned with. So as a physician, there are certain diseases where I am going to say detox is essential for my patients. Cancer is number one. In fact, there are study after study out there that show that cancer patients who are going through chemo or radiation actually respond better to their treatments, but actually tolerate their treatments better. Now, Parkinson's disease is one of the frustrating aspects of nutritional medicine for me, because the day I diagnose someone with Parkinson's disease in my office, we know, and the medical literature supports it, that 80% of those brain cells are already dead. They're gone. So it's actually too late. And if you don't believe me, look at Muhammad Ali or Michael J. Fox. Yeah, we can give medication, and they might have 3 or 4 years where they are improved, and we're doing all kinds of things. But heavy metal toxicity is really one of the #1 theories in the cause of Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's dementia, which is kind of in the same category. Because the same thing with Alzheimer's, we do not see, when we diagnose Alzheimer's, 80% of those brain cells are already dead. But people that go to detox centers and can really have aggressive detox with Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, we actually see some significant improvement. Well, I think I'm going to see similar improvement by using my more aggressive nutritional supplement recommendations, but at the same time getting them to detox. Now, autism is the one area that I'm really, really excited. Yes, we know they respond to nutritional supplementation. We also know that they do better avoiding gluten and dairy. But what I am really excited about, and we're already starting to see people on Restoriix with autism doing better. Yes, we don't have a lot of experience. It's a new product, but I'm excited because autism, I personally believe, is a heavy toxic load to the body in these young children. You know, maybe 1 immunization or 2 or not, but it's the heavy load of immunizations that we're giving our children and our babies from day 1. You know, they get the hepatitis B shot, and they're getting all of these shots, and I just think it's too much too soon. Now, I'll have a webinar just on immunizations, but autism, these children are going to, I think, do very well with Restoriix and the detox program I've laid out. My patients with neurodegenerative diseases like MS are going to do well with a detox. But my autoimmune patients like lupus, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, they're going to do well. Now, we got to be a little careful here. If an individual has Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, I would be very, very careful in starting them on Restoriix. I would start with maybe 1/3 of a scoop just to make sure they tolerate it, because this is a disease that affects the bowel. But I have had wonderful, wonderful results in my medical practice using an aggressive nutritional support in both Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. And obviously, people with heart disease, diabetes, and any chronic degenerative disease are going to do well with this kind of a detox. Now, I want you to consider just checking out my website at healthconceptsint.com and just put backslash. Just put in, you know, the health RX, and you're going to see, you know, a real good situation here for you and my guidance. I give my specific recommendations, nutritional recommendations for over 100 different diseases. So this is something that I think you would really enjoy. So with that, I'm going to end this webcast, and I appreciate it. In 2 weeks, I'm going to be talking about our purity bottle from a physician's perspective, why it's so important to have pure water and plenty of pure water. And I'm going to just talk to you about that. So thank you for being with us tonight, and I look forward to talking with you and in our next webinar, which will be in 2 weeks at the same time. Thank you.